On this episode of Buff's Garage, I've got about 2 weeks until Hot Rod Power Tour, where I'm taking Falconstein on a trip over 2,000 miles all over the U.S. But it's time to turn Falconstein into Falcon Fine. Special thanks to Brian at Hog Shooter Hot Rods, who came by to visit and check out Falconstein, and he had an idea when I mentioned I was going to paint Falconstein with some tractor paint. He thought he could do better with actual car paint. Alright guys, this is Brian from Hog Shooter Hot Rods here in Oklahoma. He actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to body and paint. He actually teaches at Tulsa Tech, teaching other people how to do it right instead of the way I've been taught. So what do you think of it so far?
I think, yeah, it looks like a serious project. There's a lot to do. I think that we can make something out of it. It's just going to take that sweat equity to get there.
So what I hear you saying is you might want to help me paint it?
Yeah, I definitely I saw the video on it and thought, man, that is so cool. And then to hear more of the story of how the guys put this together, it just reminds me something I might do, you know, things like this.
It's pretty rough, and I've shown you guys this before. We'll look at it again. I mean, this is completely just, what is that, aluminum and Bondo?
It looks like aluminum and Bondo. This is normally like pocket knife material where the guy gets out the knife and starts popping stuff off, but we want to leave it all in one piece so that the camera can be set up and get the best angle of Bondo flying out, and hopefully, you know, make sure you got eye protection on when you do it, because somebody could lose an eye.
I just want to thank him for coming all the way over here to take a look at this, and maybe we'll run it over there and see if we can't throw some paint on it. And he can actually teach me and you how to do it right.
Yeah, that's the goal with all this, is if you guys are interested in working on cars, I mean, doing a nice paint job or a decent paint job isn't crazy difficult. And we're going to use something besides tractor paint.
What, you don't like tractor paint?
Well, it just takes forever to dry.
Yeah, we found that out with the international travel-all. So he says he can improve upon the results of tractor paint and try to keep the price fairly comparable to it, but using real paint.
I know that we can do it for under 500 bucks.
I think that's a pretty good deal. So hang on, we got a lot of body work to do, and then the next time you see Brian, we'll be pulling up to throw some primer and paint on this thing.
All right.
So thanks for coming out.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been cool to meet you and like visit with you for, I don't know, half the day here. Yeah. It seems like.
It's always fun at Buff's Garage.
Drove Old Blue, just about an hour and 10 minutes to get over here, so that was fun. It's always cool to get out on the road in your old vehicle and cross your fingers and hope it makes it.
And that's how I knew I liked this guy, because not only is he a YouTuber as well, but he knows what he's doing. Like I said, he teaches at the college, and he drives his stuff. This stuff doesn't belong sitting in the garage. Get out and drive them.
Yeah, enjoy them. That's what it's all about. Put miles on it and put a smile on your face, and also put a smile on other people's face.
You're going to get thumbs up everywhere you go.
They love to see those classic cars rolling down the road.
Now, Brian is an instructor at Tulsa Tech in auto body. He's been doing this for like 30 years. He's convinced that he can do this paint job for at least the same cost as what it would cost to do it with tractor paint. There's a few things I want to do to Falconstein before I go. In 1960, Ford Falcons did not have side mirrors. You could get them, and you can get some now that are kind of factory-ish looking. But the truth is, in 1960, Ford Falcons did not have side mirrors at all. And you could get optional mirrors up here for the rear view, but they did not come standard either. Apparently people in the 60s just looked forward. There was no reason to look back. I get that. It does help when I'm changing lanes or backing up to be able to just glance and see something. And as you can tell, my aftermarket mirrors, we're guessing 1990s J.C. Whitney, have lost their reflectivity. When I took this out in the snow, that glass fell off, and directly after, that glass fell off. I got about this much viewing area. But that's not enough. So I went on Amazon and got the absolute cheapest rear view mirror I could find. This is a universal day-night mirror from CIPA, SIPA, I don't know what it is. Yes, it's not factory, and no, it may not look just right, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to give me the ability to look behind me and at least see when things are coming. Maybe a tornado won't sneak up on me this time. I'll be able to see it coming. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in before I take off. There's a few other little things I need to button up before I head over to Hog Shooter Hot Rods and start stripping this thing down. Well, the first thing you need to do to install this mirror is you need to get this rear view mirror adhesive. That's the one thing it didn't come with. If your windshield already has the little button on here, no worries, you don't need the adhesive. But if yours doesn't have the button like mine, no worries, it comes with one. So we're gonna get our adhesive on there. We cleaned it and applied our glue, and the button is stuck. Then we can mount our mirror. Another issue we're having is I was trying to get all the lights to work before, and in the 1960 Ford Falcon, the wagon and the Ranchero, your headlight switch is also your fuse box. Well, we don't have all the things that the fuse box would power. We just need the lights to turn on and off. Besides, we installed a brand new fuse box anyway. So I went and found the cheapest headlight switch I could find. This should just turn the lights on and off, giving us parking lights and then headlights. And then of course our high beams are operated down here by our foot. The headlight switch had these fancier plastic, I don't know, look like kind of daisies. And most of them are gone or chewed up by rats. So, you know, we went with just the cheapo, hey, that's the headlight one. But it had a fancy little chrome piece that fit in there and screwed into that. But we're not going to use that. So we're going to just put our switch in there like this, just to make sure it doesn't push through. We'll use this super shiny stainless washer. That should dress it up just a little bit while also making sure it doesn't push through the hole. All in all, it's going to simplify everything. Like I said, everything else is running through the fuse box now, so we don't need this. We just need to isolate a few wires, get them hooked up here, and all of our lights should work again. Well, with all of the fuse box eliminated, I believe I got all the wires transferred where they need to go. Now this gauge cluster really doesn't do much of anything. When you turn the key on, the generator light comes on. But even the dash lights weren't working. I have played with them. I can kind of get them to work intermittently, but fuel gauge doesn't work, temp gauge doesn't work. That's why we've got these gauges over here. But I would like the fuel gauge to work at some point. And rather than try to figure all this out, they make a pop-in 1960 Falcon replacement, but that's out of my price range right now. Anywho, let's see if this works. Yep, they seem to be working. Double check the back ones. Lit up. Lit up. All right, with those few little things we've got done, I'm running out of daylight. So I'm gonna wrap this up, get everything put away. I've got to load Falconstein up with all the tools and everything I'm gonna need, because I'm gonna be gone for an entire weekend, and hopefully in about 3 days we can knock this paint job out, which includes body work. But I really don't want to do, because you know I don't like sanding. All right, see you in the morning. Morning update. I went to fire this thing up this morning and head over to Hog Shooter Hot Rods to start the body and paint process. I was even set to leave an hour early. But wouldn't you know it, it acted like the battery was dead, which makes no sense because it fired right up yesterday and parked under the carport. So I started checking. Sure enough, I have 12 volts. But whenever I turn the key on, it makes a weird sound out of the starter, and it goes down to about 7 volts. I think the starter finally failed me. So I've got it lifted up, and I'm starting the process of pulling the starter. I got a hold of O'Reilly's this morning, and they can have a starter here at noon. So good on them for getting that done for me. I was supposed to leave by 8:30 to get there on time. It'll be well after noon before I even get the part, let alone get back here, put it in, and drive over. It sucks that we're delayed by more than half a day. And I don't know how that's going to end, because we only had 3 days to get the body, primer, and paint done. You may stay this color after all, Falconstein. It's a Scout, so the starter sucks to get to anyway. I got the wiring undone. Oh, dear Lord. I wonder how long this starter's been in here. The main wire to engage the solenoid is rusted on there, so I'm going to say it's been a while. Almost gave myself a hernia just trying to get that thing out of there. This is way too heavy. This says it was manufactured in 62. By the rust, it's been on there a while. But if you ever thought, hey, I want to buy an International Scout, first thing I would do is tell you, no. They're not very fast. They got a lot of torque. They can pull anything. But they've got a lot of little quirks, like this. We're going to take a 5/8 head bolt, and it's going to be your starter bolt. Seems simple enough. And on the bottom, it is simple enough. But on the top, there's engine here, exhaust here. So you're fully encased by metal. There is a space just big enough to fit a wrench in. However, engineers being engineers, and I can only blame the Americans this time, they don't make it so you can get a wrench on there. Nor is this space wide enough for a regular socket. You could get one of those little slim sockets, or you could get a shaved down, which I did, wrench. This probably isn't enough to do the job, and I've seen specialty tools on the internet for this. I was able to get this on there and just plow it home just enough to get it started, and then I was able to kind of fudge it the rest of the way and got it out. But then once I got the bolt out, I'm presented with this 200-pound monstrosity. Now it's not quite that much, but it's really freaking heavy. I don't know why it just stopped working. I'd love to test it, but I also need a core, so this becomes the core. So I think we've got our lifespan out of this one. So I'm going to go to town and get the new one, and maybe we can get this show back on the road. Well, back from O'Reilly's. That is an hour there and back. This one looked like the old one, and this one is remanufactured as well. So I'm going to expect at least half that life out of this one. All right, it's a real pain in the tail to get it in here, so I'm going to get it shoved in there. Get this top bolt. Yeah, they didn't fix this problem here. Get the top bolt started, and hopefully I can get this back in and get on the road. Well, I stopped to try to clean the windshield a little bit. We've got Falconstein's nemesis, the rain. I mean, he also doesn't like big ditches either. But at this point, I still got an hour until I get to Hog Shooter Hot Rods to start working on this. So I guess it needed washed anyway. So here we are. We're going to drive in the rain with no windows and no wipers. Well, I picked up a little bit of rain off and on the way. No major deal, but we just made the trek over. It's about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's a really pretty drive. That's the first time we've popped over 180 on the 10. Probably time to do some looking at that when we get home. Other than the clutch feels a little funny, everything seems to be all right. I think the starter and the flywheel were not happy, but I don't think it was the starter because we had the same issue with the old starter, so I might have to deal with the flywheel. And we made it. So half a day late, Brian. Do you think we can still do something?
I guarantee you we can do something.
Because I just love sanding.
Oh yes, everybody likes to sand. And there's a good amount of it here. We're gonna get after it.
We don't have to get too crazy. It can be just okay.
Just okay.
To a body and paint guy.
Anyway,
Brian here so graciously taking on this task. I tried to talk him out of it, but here we are.
Nice long weekend project.
All right, enough of this. We're going to get to work. Well, I pulled it into the shop and realized it was still muddy from when we went and picked up the square body. So we're going to go ahead and get all the mud and dirt and crust off of it. I can tell you there's a lot. When people start to really understand how cobbled together this thing is, it's kind of funny for me because I've obviously driven it all over the US so far and about to do it even more, if it makes it, to see people's expressions and hear their comments when they realize just how thrown together this is. Yes, it's got a lot a lot of the Lord's fasteners, the good old self-tap. It's got rivets, it's got screws. I mean, there's even wood screws in there. This thing is something special. And hopefully when we're done, it'll last a little bit longer. If I hadn't had to stop and get a starter, it would have been washed before I got here, but I was in a hurry. I know we've only got so many hours to work on this, and how quickly can you fix all of this and then still get primer and paint on? Not only fast, but cheap. We are comparing this to trying to do a tractor paint job, but Brian's convinced me we can do it just as fast, just as cheap. Let's find out.
Yeah.
This one's only broken because of Dalton at Pole Barn Garage. He was using the plow truck to push this into the shop, and it's not his fault. I told him to do it.
Hey. Hello. Ooh, oh, there's a screw right there.
It's actually in something?
Yes, it's screwed in.
It's no longer.
Mystery has been solved.
What is all this? Mouse nest?
Yeah, good stuff.
Is this flashing, or is this part of the car?
No, that's aluminum, flashing, whatever.
Something.
Race car floorboards.
So here's the outer skin. You can see that's just aluminum flashing that they use to make that, wrap it around, and you know, pop rivets and bolts. I always thought it was kind of hokey the way it was built, and now I know why.
Yeah, so the layers have protected the outer sheet metal.
Okay, so there's, how many colors are in there?
It's hard to tell right now because this thing kind of melts it all together, but it looks like just like white and a light gray or a primer, and then darker gray and more primer.
But obviously it was white. It was also, at some point, parts of it were red.
Right.
Because that structure's all white, the doors are red, the dash is red, that firewall's red, and then the front fenders were white again. Yeah. So it's at least a couple of cars.
Yeah, for sure. Metal there. More metal than you give it credit for.
I wasn't concerned about the amount of metal, it was the type. Is it aluminum?
Oh, right.
So just going back to stuff like Dalton says, they just filled it. And then if it hadn't sat in that field for so long and the paint hadn't rotted away, this might still be pretty decent. But it wasn't good to begin with. It just was filled and then painted.
Yeah, it just was.
Yeah.
They made it good enough for what they wanted out of it.
It's getting way too good a treatment right now.
I don't know. We're spanking it with a wire wheel pretty hard. Shaved the marker trim with body filler.
Nice.
Of course.
Well, why do it right, you know?
Right. Hey,
And you can do it right now.
when you can have fun.
I've stolen Falconstein's identity in the palm of my hand. If we can't get these to re-stick, I'll just get more off of Amazon. That's where I got these from. Poor Falconstein. Just to highlight more of their creativity, we've got 2 Phillips here, and then 2 self-tappers here. That one's about to come out. Again, same thing. So we're gonna pull these out, get these all cleared off, see if we can't get to these leathers.
Yeah.
Just clear some stuff off. What are those things?
I don't know.
And they're like perfectly lined up.
Like something that was on the bed of the thing at one point?
Maybe.
It almost looks like what is it called on a boat that has the
little handles
where you wind the rope around it.
Oh, yes.
They're definitely countersunk down in there plenty far where we can make them disappear again.
Okay, good. So you think somebody added that?
It's brazed on, but this would have been in the era where they used brass on the outsides of cars.
They probably had these added for tie downs.
Just to tie stuff down, because there's nothing, inside.
Right. That's actually really cool. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's on the other side. I bet it is.
I bet it is. She was built with the greatest of care and symmetrical everything back in
except then it wasn't. Well, even when the guys built it in the 90s, I mean, they did cobble a lot of stuff together, but
yeah,
it's not horrible.
Right.
It is cobbled together, though.
It is, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go, he saved it. So, I thought you had to get to the back side of these and get the nuts out, but apparently you could just wiggle on them. And yeah, you could break them. It's possible. But his technique is to get in there and just kind of wiggle it like that, and eventually it pops out.
Yeah.
And if you do break them, you can just double side tape them.
Fasteners for this are actually they're barrel nuts that just snap down into the hole, and they kind of swedge around the back side of that rather than having an actual
twist off
nut.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Faster on the assembly line.
Oh yeah. That's what it was all about back in the day.
But now they're a little ornery.
It's because they've been there for so long.
I think it has something to do with all the rat pee.
Yeah, you think?
Corrosive.
This only had like all the rats living in it.
I'm telling you. Yeah. That's kind of like when I watched the videos and I saw this thing, and then I started following what you were doing with it. I was like, all right, that is something that needs to be saved somehow, some way. And this guy is just crazy enough to drive this thing all the way to New Mexico.
Because he needed my help.
This cat needs to have some shiny paint and make it look, like good enough. I think that's been a term that's been used in this process.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't have to be showroom. It just has to look better. And I will tell you, I've been told by a lot of people to just leave the patina, but I didn't want it to rust anymore. And how do you fix rust? You got to go in, you got to take it out, you got to stop the rust. And then if you want to keep it from rusting, you got to put something on it.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to clear coat it.
Yeah,
this isn't good enough to clear coat.
It's a little rough.
Not that kind of patina.
Yeah, this is the set out and baked in the sun lacquer paint on top of original paint.
Yeah, there's multiple layers. Okay, so the hood wasn't white, was it? It was blue.
Right. I mean,
the hood was blue.
Unless they stripped it originally.
Okay, so that's where I was confused. All right, so the back of this was obviously white from the factory. We've dug this side down. We figured that out. And then of course tailgate was red. Yep, the original was white. These doors are red. The dash was red. And the front wasn't white. The front was blue. So Falconstein was red, white, and blue at one point in time.
I am motivated. This is
fun to work with people that are excited and know what they're doing.
This is the beginning stage, so you got to get it to this point before you know what you have to work with. So the more we get to this state, we'll know what we have here, and then we'll formulate the plan. I mean, we already knew we're not going to do a show quality job. We're not going to cut out every ounce of rust and replace it with brand new metal. But we are going to fix this car and we're going to paint it.
In just 3 days.
Yeah. Memorial Day weekend rain doesn't seem like it's going to help us though.
That's a good reminder. So you may not see this on Memorial Day weekend, but we're doing this on Memorial Day weekend. Take a moment and say thank you to those that aren't with us anymore and fought for our country.
Yeah. Your family members not with us anymore. I mean, these guys that built Falconstein.
Yeah, they're not here anymore either.
They're not here anymore.
But in a patriotic sense, he was red because the doors were red, white, and we're finding this was blue. Originally blue, a different color blue than the rest of the blue. Yeah. So he was red, white, and blue from the beginning. And this is why I love the automotive community. I remember jumping on a YouTube forum one day and I saw Hog Shooter Hot Rods pop in as one of the commenters, and I looked him up. And I figured out that he painted cars. In fact, this is one of the ones he's done. It's a good looking OBS, as they call it, the GMT 400 trucks. And I would say this was a fine example, but then he showed me what it was before. That was the rear by the extended cab there. That's what was hanging down on the bottom. But seeing someone in the forums, I just kind of hit him up and was like, hey, it'd be really cool if you could teach me some tips and tricks on automotive painting. Then I found out he is an instructor of auto body for Tulsa Tech, and at that point I realized I've got the guy. He not only does the work, he can teach me. That's what I'm saying when I say the automotive community is awesome. He welcomed me into his home, into his shop. He said, I know that you've used this tractor paint before, but I think we can do it. And here we are, getting it done. So obviously this has more rust, but has the door been more challenging than the back?
No, the door didn't have as much paint on it as the back. The back is, yeah, the back's got 4 or 5 layers of coatings on there, whatever they might be. I mean, you've got the metal and then the factory primer in white, and then some kind of a red sealer and another layer of white. Like, these cars could have been repaired at the factory when they were brand new and repainted. We don't know. And then there's black on top of that with another white paint job. And then
black
gray
up here
primer.
Too? It is?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I thought there was a stripe. No, it was just a whole different thing.
I think it was just black primer.
And then you said another layer of primer.
Yeah.
And then that's the blue?
Yeah, so it was black and then another layer of primer and then blue. I don't know. There's so stinking many layers there, you lose track of the map.
Yeah. Which we said the doors were red, but reality is the inside of the door was red and the dash, so this would have been a white car with a red interior.
So you can actually see the outside where the red overspray from the interior is right over the factory primer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just right in that top couple of inches there. And really this door's only got like maybe a half dozen small dings in it. And of course it's got a little rust spot down here, but overall it's in decent shape sheet metal wise. I think the quarters are not terrible, but they've been there, seen it, and probably have the tattoo.
Yeah. It's kind of like we're doing archaeology on the history of this car, and well, all the cars, because we've got 1, 2, there's a third car in the front, and then of course the Scout underneath. So we're kind of discovering the past piece by piece.
Digging it up.
Yep.
Digging up bones. Wasn't that a song?
Didn't you say the primer was from Egypt?
Yeah, the primer that we're going to use came from Egypt.
So it kind of full circles back to the archaeology thing.
That's it. I mean, I figure primer good enough for the Egyptians, it's got to be good enough for Falconstein.
We're basically archaeologists now.
So after you've done this as long as I have, you get a smell.
Yeah.
And you can tell different brands of paint.
I can smell something, whatever you just hit.
Yeah.
Different than what was before.
So we got DuPont acrylic lacquer, 1970 something, and then This other stuff I think is Sherwin-Williams lacquer from the 80s.
The blue or the white?
The black.
The black.
And then when we get into the gray, I think we're back into DuPont again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm no paint expert, but I know a thing or two about rust. Yeah.
It'll just cut off there. That's how you know it's lacquer.
Okay.
And like you know from your 18 van experiences,
Yep.
if you can peel it, you do not want to paint over it. The lacquer stuff on this is what's making it flake like that. Yeah. Like we're going in between paint jobs where it should have chemical adhesion. And we're just like slicing it right off there.
Look at that, just comes right up.
So when I was in my late teens, early 20s,
A couple years ago.
this was, this was in the 80s with GM products and Ford and Dodge. We did all of the warranty work for a couple of dealerships, and we would get 6 cars a week, and this is how I stripped. I have no idea how many Chevy Corsica, Beretta, Grand Ams, Grand
the top that
Prix.
would burn off?
Oh, all the paint was peeling on these cars. Like I can do this with the students, take and get something in there that'll peel, and I can sit there with a razor blade and I can just cut the paint off, and they try to do it, and like they get frustrated. They're like, why don't you? What? We need something to hold the razor blade with. No, if you hold the razor blade with something, then you dig in the paint and you gouge it, and then you can't. Like the goal was to strip it like this, sand it with 220, put 1 coat of epoxy as a sealer on it, and repaint it.
Just a whole lot of not metal.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't go down below that part of the roll though.
So it was just the curvy spot there.
Up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I think it's okay to leave that. It's not cracked or no rust or
just got the primer and paint off of it. So wait, you're saying 30-year-old putty is okay to leave?
On this job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like if you were just making a car like this, just to cruise up and down the street, not a show car, you'd leave it?
Yeah, as long as it's stuck and there's no rust behind it. We can look at the back and see if they drilled holes. That might make a difference because it could have rust coming from around there. But if it stayed in there that long, it's probably going to stay.
There you go. So you don't have to strip it and start over. That's what he's getting at. We're not doing a concourse car. We're doing we're doing Falconstein in 3 days, and honestly, anything's better than what we got. So we're not hurting anything by what we're doing. So the body putty stays. Again, we're not focusing here.
No.
Just here.
No, don't look down there. Start welding up a few holes. Got a few of these, and
yeah, we're going to go ahead and eliminate the snaps for now because we're going to predict that, yes, I'm going to figure out some windows at some point. But we won't even worry about it. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of our snaps for now. And then if we ever do something different, we'll figure it out when we get there. I'm also working on trying to unhook the roll bar, not because you guys threw a fit and said get rid of the roll bar, but only so we can get to the body behind it and get it all smoothed out. And it looks like there's just 2 bolts up in this hole here, so I'm going to get on those. But while he was working that side, I was working the roof here, and it's got some holes. Some of the funniest stuff I figure out. This is real.
It is.
So when you don't have the bolt that's the right size and you need it to butt up to a certain position, we'll just stack it with washers. That whole roll bar there, that's of course not safety, it's just decoration. There's probably $2 or $3 worth of washers just on that one bolt. It's pretty impressive. I'll bet the other one's got just as many.
Yeah, they're that expensive, especially if you're buying them off the guy that sold you the banjo bolt off the floor.
Gosh. And this is why you come to a real auto body and paint guy. I was not going to worry about this, but I don't have an antenna for it. It doesn't have any wires down here. I do have a working AM/FM cassette. It does actually work. That's a Queen tape in there right now. It had Beastie Boys in there when I got it, but we're going to try to eliminate this hole, and he's got a plan. So prying it up, not bending it down.
Right. Yeah, we might have to bend it down, but we're going to pry it up first.
I actually bought a set of fancy hammers like that.
Yeah.
And they're still in the box with plastic on them. I usually just hit stuff with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. I gotta push around here with my finger, trying to get a shape there. And when I pull it loose, you may not be able to see it in the camera, but I mean you can definitely see it on the back side.
They get it.
That's what we need, and we'll just make it slightly teardrop shape so we can slide it in, and we'll weld.
So you're making a patch.
Yeah, we'll weld a piece of metal to it, pull it up tight, tack it in the tight spots, then knock down the highs.
And then just fill the...
Weld it up, fill it, go on, buddy.
Neat. Okay, so 10 snips.
Yeah, good pair. You want to buy good snips. Wiss makes probably some of the best. And then we're just kind of like following our jagged lines that we cut. It's not easy to cut curves. But from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch it in from the back.
Uh-huh.
Now how do we get to the back?
We're going to weld a nail on there. We're going to push it in and pull it up.
Oh, because I know there's no access. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
PPE may be overrated sometimes. I was trying to find the spot, the widest spot in this and the narrowest spot on our piece here.
What do you mean it's not a perfect circle?
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes you can just worm it around and it'll fall right in. Tiny little bit of hammer in there, and I think we can do this. I'm gonna throw my... I really hate to weld beside your windshield, but I'm gonna...
That windshield is not perfect.
Okay, and there's that. So I just find a spot where the metal's touching. There you go, simple as that.
Look, now I have an antenna again.
Right, yeah. Hey, and it's a spike too. All the kids like that. Then you have something you can grab a hold of and you can pull up. Tap your metal down. We want to try to get it at least level with the body before we finish weld it, because it's not gonna get any better after you weld it. At this point, it's everything you can do to keep from walking back to the toolbox, because extra steps.
So we just reuse the same nail.
Yeah, same nail.
Multi-purpose tool.
I'm telling you. Paint it red and sell it in a Snap-on box.
Well, you'd be rich selling nails. All that stuff's supposed to fall out.
We're lightening it. It needs better gas mileage. Figuring out the easiest way to do this. We're just gonna clean out a little edge, get something we can kind of weld to. We're gonna put this back in behind it, tack it in place. It'll be a backer, so our body filler isn't hanging out inside the door, I guess.
You mean like they did?
Yeah, we're not doing what they did.
But for those that say you're not just hacking it together like old Dalton at Pole Barn Garage, I've seen him do good work too, so don't just say that it's not the same. Plus, we still only have a couple of days to get this done, so it's not like we're going to go too far down that rabbit trail.
Right.
We're going to just fix the easy, quick stuff like this, and then it'll be done. It will be what it will be.
All right, so.
Same process. He used the nail to hold that panel in there until he got it knocked in the hole.
And then just go through and stitch her up, kids. Doesn't oil can anymore. We shrunk the oil can out of it. Now we need to run over this with a grinder, mix up some body filler, go through and wipe some body filler. I pulled this out of the ground at a old tractor dealer. That is the nut that holds the blades on a brush hog. But you can see it's had some wear put on it through the years. And I just cleaned it up and kind of shined the top. So that's your dolly? That's my dolly. I like it because you can hold on to it and push hard. And all we need to do is flatten that out a little bit. Got the good old piece of copper here. So this one's pretty heavy. It doesn't have to be that. You can just take a piece of copper pipe and smash it flat, put a handle on it. But this hole is really big out here and we have access to the back side. So I thought, why not pull out the copper and, you know, because weld doesn't stick to the copper. These old ones, they're not made out of tank metal.
Definitely not this one. Although, it is tornado proof.
It is. It's verified.
Yeah, I need a badge. I need somebody to make me some tornado badges that we can put on here. It's every bit as capable as that Dominator thing that the storm chasers drive through here. I mean, I drove through a tornado. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on camera, but this thing has no windows, no back wall, no windshield wipers, and I thought I was almost home free. And in the last couple miles, tornado hit. It was confirmed. It was on radar. I put it on Instagram and Facebook for you guys to see. It drove through it. The interior was very wet, and I had hail coming in from the side. From all the reports, it was an actual tornado. So, yeah, this is every bit as good as the Dominator thing, but better because it's cooler. All right, so you've already got the first round on.
Using some fiber reinforced stuff. You said Grandpa called it kitty hair.
Kitty hair, yep.
Yeah, same kind of thing, different brand name, but yeah, just short strand fiberglass reinforced filler. Go over all the welded areas, the deeper filled areas, anything we're going to have to pile filler in. I like to use that just because it'll hold up long term.
Better than just straight body filler.
Oh yes, 100%. Buy what you can get, but get new stuff. Don't use something that's been on the shelf for 3 years and try to use that. New stuff always works better.
Well, as you can see, we've lost the daylight. It's officially sundown, so we're going to pull Falconstein inside where not only we can be protected, but also it's brighter in here.
Pretty good right there. This is a Bondo hog, so it's geared.
Oh, okay.
It's not random, so it cuts faster. But if you go and you go down the metal, it's no big deal. It's just 36 grit scratches in metal. Take more primer to fill.
All right, so we're running 36 grit, and Brian now trusts me to try to strip this hood down while he's working on filling the patches on the passenger side. So
yeah,
it's like almost 10 o'clock at night, so we got to get to work.
Yep.
Hey, you know, I use the same cardboard. So
yeah.
So higher end doesn't mean you got to have the fancy tray or any of that.
If I'm doing a car that's an expensive car, I will use like masonite. This is why I built all the interior panels for the 35 out of it.
Okay.
But that white side of it is non-porous. A lot of these old cars, I'll wipe the whole side of the car and sand it all off, and it stays where it's low.
I'm going to keep destroying my hood.
Oh, you're making it so much better.
You guys know how much I like sanding, but it's got to be done, and I can't expect anyone else to be doing this but me. So appreciate everything that Brian has shown me and his hospitality. And so tackling this hood, this big flat surface for the most part with a few little humps here and there, but you can just see all the different layers of what's going on with this thing. I mean, multiple layers of junk. Slide hammer?
It's big, 8 pound. Just kind of, even though it's rusty and I know I'm going to cut it all off, I want to get this buckle in as far as I can.
That's old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been that way for a while. And I'm not going to worry about straightening it like I would.
I've no doubt I cracked and lost Bondo while on my watch, but I don't remember smashing that whole thing up in there.
Yeah, we'll take this and curl it around and try to get the metal above it somewhat back, but it's already full of filler, folks.
Yeah. Like, that's not mud. Well, it is, but it's a different kind of mud.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You can see how thick it is there.
If we use the big words, they call this the rough out process.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're roughing the metal out, trying to get it back to the dimensions that it was prior. And then we start cutting. Quick and dirty. They've already rolled the inside of this fender lip up inside of here, so in effect this thing is just really thick. It's still strong. There's enough metal we can weld it in here and make it much better than what it was. That's what your welder sounds like in rust. We got a little rust problem down here. There's a little bit of body filler there already. You can see my nice looking welding job. You can tell when they're really good when they have like black soot burning up around them and stuff.
You mean that's not normal?
No, that's when you get the real experience right there. You can make it smoke and do fancy stuff for you.
Well, good morning. We thrashed all night, almost till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I guess that's next day, but really not because we hadn't slept yet. I got done with this hood for the most part. Needs some work on it. Started on the roof. So honestly, I didn't get very far, but come look what Brian did. You guys were seeing some of this, but he got all of this welded up through here. He's got this part cut out. He's going to try to rebuild this.
You want to be my friend? Hello, good morning from Falconstein.
Is that not normal?
That is abnormal.
Some above and beyond level stuff here.
I mean, they did it last time. You can tell they went above and beyond. We got full on Bondo worms coming through the pits. And we're cut well above that. That line is our top cut line. So hopefully we have something good to weld to back here.
I do plan on putting it back, but it's just going to make everything easier. That really changed the look. I'm not particularly excited about the way it looks now. I've had a lot of you say you wanted the roll bar gone. But that's part of the personality of Falconstein. Basically, the drawing's already been made, the stickers are cut. The roll bar stays.
Cosmetic resurfacing cream engaged.
So most of the heavy lifting was done. And then we've got, this is the short strand fiberglass here, covering up a few boo-boos. And then he's coming in with the nice body filler.
Yeah, just some U-Pole gold. Putting it on here. Nothing is too good for Falconstein.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that probably are. We're just going to keep not looking at this because it's bad. But on this side, I've started getting it knocked down. I didn't really want to go to metal, but there are places where, you know, they did some body work, and so we had to. And here's some more spots there that they pulled out and filled. And then this array of holes. I'm going to try to see if I can find online if there ever was trim, because it ends here. But there's just a lot of holes, and it matched on the other side too. Hopefully have this thing ready to primer.
Prime it by 8 o'clock tonight.
There you go, 8 o'clock tonight. Well, I'm completely covered in dust. Sure enough, on this side, have the little. I think these were the tie downs that we decided they recessed them and brazed them in. But a lot of rot down here. I wondered where that went. There it is. No idea what it is.
There you go, boss. Chicken stitched up.
Looks pretty good.
It's firm.
That's the key.
When the big tires are churning, it'll stay all in place. That's what we're hoping.
When we hit the big rocks, it won't completely fold.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now it's time to mix up the stuff and do the thing.
Make it pretty. So I can't say enough how much I appreciate Brian bringing me in and not only helping me do this, but showing me how to do it. Again, showing me how to do it right. That's kind of the key thing here. Is you see a lot of guys out there that do it wrong. Some of them actually know how to do it right and get away with doing it wrong, and then there's others that quite frankly just do it wrong. And this wasn't horrible the way it was done before, but it wasn't great. And hopefully we can make Falconstein great. If nothing else, just because you guys love this truck. I personally have fallen in love with it, even driving it without the windows, through tornadoes, everything else. I feel like it deserves a little bit extra. And maybe it'll last another 20, 30, 50 years. Who knows? It's definitely going to be stronger, and it's going to be prettier. So put in the comments below what color you think we should go with besides blue or primer. Because it was blue, and it was white, and then it was red, and just figure out what color you think it should be. Put it in the comments below, and then wait till the end, and you'll find out. Look at that magic right there.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between primer and sealer?
So they're very close to the same thing, but the primer has more talc for build, and sealer has more resins to make it dry nice and smooth and give it the qualities that you want. You want your sealer to lay down good. You want it to fill a little bit, only like maybe 2 20 grit scratches, and then yeah.
And so your primer is to build it up to
Block.
Get you that smooth surface, and then sealing it gives you that ready to paint surface.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't want to necessarily paint right on top of primer.
I mean, it's not the best. You can. I mean, it's been done for many years. People might, I think they get very much, this is the way I do it, this is the way I learned how to do it from such and such in '03, and this is the way I'm going to tell you that it's the only way it'll work, and that's not
We
true.
were painting battleships that way in 1937.
Yeah. We'd paint and start on one end, and by the time we got to the other end, it was time to start over. We never finished painting the whole time I was in the Navy. It's getting ready to get dusty here.
This is a work smarter, not harder thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sweeping the floor here.
I'm not gonna lie, that's probably how I'm gonna clean the shop from now on. That's too easy.
Get it on the car first. Preferably with a lot of pressure, pushing it into scratches, because we know we got to put some filler on this thing to fix it. So just load it first, and then we'll squeegee it all out with the big drywall knife.
Drywall knife you can get at Home Depot kind of thing.
Sure enough. And any straight edge will work. Old guy that worked in the stall beside me in the body shop had a aluminum molding that was off of a 50s Oldsmobile or Buick that he used. It was like a machine.
Well, now it's starting to look like I do it.
So, drywall knife, just bring it up, slick that off.
Oh, that is fancy.
Put that right there, slick that off, find your low spots. So the wider the knife is, within reason, the straighter you can get your work before you ever start sanding it.
Yeah,
that's kind of the whole purpose of doing this, is to get it straight.
Because that's where you start sanding and then you get waves and lines and stuff.
Yeah, so you do this. Granted, not everybody's going to wipe the entire car or an entire side of a car, but you can do it.
It's really not as much as it looks like, because you rebuilt it all with metal.
Right, and we did put a straight edge on it and made sure that nothing was like crazy low. I mean, there's a lot of welding. We used steel from a whole different vehicle or just flat stuff to build it, so naturally you're going to have to do something like this, or we could spend 3 months hand forming and hand building a panel to do this. No. And that's not where Falconstein lives.
Nope, we want to get it back together, back on the road, and looking just slightly better than it was. And now it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Oh, it is orbital. Okay, so it's not just...
Yeah, it's similar to a DA, but it's not random. It's just an orbital cut pattern. I have 40 grit on here, and it's like cuts down on the aggressiveness, but it's still it is aggressive. It cuts like crazy.
Right, like I told you, 80 to me is really aggressive.
Yeah. I'm teaching it, and the students figure out new ways to screw it up every single year. Another mistake I see is guys using little short blocks.
Yeah.
This is the smallest block to straighten body work or anything. If it's bigger than, you know, however, a $50.
Yep.
Yeah. Use a big block and it'll flatten that stuff out. Yeah, because the small block, you think about it, it's just going to wander right over those lumps. And if you're using fine sandpaper, then you're just like compounding your frustration.
It looks like cake icing, but it's regular icing.
It is USC icing, but that is just glaze. I like U-Pole makes one that's called Dolphin Glaze. You get that stuff smooth as a dolphin's belly, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, they've all got it out there.
So who goes out there and tests this and like, okay, this is smooth, but where's that dolphin at? And they bring that over.
Yeah.
What if you've ever actually seen a dolphin?
Maybe not.
Knowing that it's the X pattern seems to help me maintain that 45 degrees.
There you go.
I don't know why that one's set in my head.
You know, we talk about scratch profiles and eliminating the scratch profile, getting it down as smooth as we can. There are people that might argue that the X pattern leaves more aggressive scratches than finishing, standing straight in line. Definitely more aggressive than like a DA sander with some finer grit sandpaper. But it's hard to finish bodywork out straight with a DA. Yeah, keep good sharp sandpaper, especially on hoods, roofs, deck lids, or a panel that has very little crown or curvature to it. It's a whole lot.
I'm cheap and I try to get every little bit
I hear that.
sandpaper.
So Dad used to say that we started out with a piece of 36 grit, and by the time we were done sanding the car, it was 1500.
That was 90% of why I was so hesitant. It's intimidating that you did all this amazing work, and then I'm going to come in here and screw it all up. Clark's is where you got all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Clark's. Is that in Tulsa?
Yes, 21st, 23rd, and Sheridan.
But it's online too.
It's online. Yeah, they have the best online shopping cart building website.
Oh, nice.
So you can go in and select things. The one thing about their store is they have a lot of things in the store they can't put on the website, either for legal reasons or they do a lot of buyouts of material.
Oh, okay.
So when they go in and buy it out, they'll stock it in the store, they'll sell it out of the store, but it won't ever make it to the website. So
if you can make it to Tulsa, hit up Clark's. Is it Clark's Wholesale?
yeah, Clark's Wholesale Paint. They have
Or
Tulsa,
check them out online.
Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Wichita.
Awesome.
So quite a few places around. They're good people.
Because it's hard to find inexpensive paint outside the tractor store, but he was able to find some with that motivation to keep it cheap and keep it every bit as simple, I should say, as tractor painting, minus the bodywork, which you're going to have to do whether you tractor paint it or car paint it. Doesn't matter. Bodywork matters. But beyond that, he got all the supplies there, one-stop shop, and you can get stuff online as well.
So my theory in this is if I tractor paint it, I still have to do the work to get it ready.
Right.
And if I'm going to go through the trouble to get it ready, you know, I might as well spend the money to get it ready right.
But it wasn't that much more than going to buy tractor paint.
Yeah, it was a couple $100.
Right. So I spent about $300 to $400 on supplies.
It was, let's say this, it was under $400, but I did not buy a reducer with it. But I bought a whole lot of like the short strand fiberglass, the body
so
filler.
It's really comparable to what I spent on the 18 band.
It probably is. But
And by the way, you guys have to think up a punishment because I keep touching the car and I'm told that's a no-no. So we got to come up with a punishment that every time I touch the car, I don't know. I'm not running around the building. I'm too tired for that. But
get Bobby to come down here and cut on your big toe.
No, my toe hurts already. I dropped a piece of panel on my toe in New Mexico working on Dalton's mansion in the desert. That was definitely a red spot putty.
Yeah, there's a couple of good ones in there. So you could go through and you could mark these with a Sharpie. I prefer to use tape because anything ink stays.
So you just put a piece of tape where it's at?
Yeah, just stick a piece of tape on it and then we'll know.
I'm not saying this hood was hail dented, but definitely hammer dented.
Yeah, I think somebody was this is just like, it won't start!
Yeah. Wait, that was me.
Okay.
We forgot this guy. He's big.
We're gonna put that roll of tape back. You gotta take one of those pieces that's on the hood already and tear it in half. There's some good ones up there.
We won't worry about the tailgate as much right now because it's just a nightmare. And every time we look at it, it just aggravates because we don't have a quick and ready solution for it. We of course will improvise and we'll overcome when we get to that. Let's do the rest of the car. Finish strong, figure out that tailgate, knock it out, and then we'll have it primered and ready for paint. Whatever color we choose. So cooler heads prevailed and we decided to maybe look at the Dalton dent when he pushed Falconstein in his shop with the plow truck. It was my fault. I told him it was okay and it did ruin the light, but we patched it with red tape, so that's fine. But we've got this little crease from the plow truck. So we're gonna at least attempt to look at maybe fixing it.
Yeah. We'll see if this is gonna be something that'll pull Dalton's in, or if we need to weld this thing up.
Or we can just pretend like we didn't see it.
Oh. So, just a simple spot welder of those. I mean, they sell these deals at Harbor Freight now.
Yeah, they kind of got everything there. It's not always great, but it exists.
Yeah, mine's legit, American made, probably back, I got it in the late 80s. Bam.
It's like Christine, and it's trying to
regen itself.
It's allowing you to fix itself.
Right. You get your favorite baby tap tap.
More people watched the second video than they did the first one. And I think they watched the second video more than they watched the one of me driving it 800 miles across to the desert.
The desert trip was intense.
I thought that was interesting.
Just, this is creased really hard, so I'm wondering if these nails will pull it or if it's going to rip. We're in a condition here, we call this metal stretched.
Submitted to a K5 laser.
That moved a whole bunch of stuff. We'll do it a little at a time on each one, see which one it likes the best.
If you do this and, you know, the front bumper moves.
You know,
yeah.
You know you're getting after it if the front bumper
really
moves.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, no heat even. Yeah, it's like sucking that in, doing just what it's supposed to, doing dent puller things. So then we come back over here, hoping we might have loosened a little metal up there.
Wow. Sorry, Dalton.
All right.
This car just lost value because it doesn't have a Dalton dent anymore.
Whack this in here with some kind of a piece of wood or something.
Dang it, Brian. Now I'm going to order the $30 taillight.
Oh!
All right, I'll be back. I got to go order some taillights.
Getting ready to evacuate the body filler dust, and this gets pretty ugly pretty quick.
I don't think I will ever clean my shop out any other way from now on. This is just brilliant. Well, that took care of a lot of it right there.
Oh yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Get some big stuff out. Starts kind of dragging you down, having all of that dust, and you're just living in this world of funk.
It's mostly the breathing part that it slows you down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And for those that say you should be wearing masks, we're open air, aerated. It's fine. But if we were all enclosed, we would be doing that.
Definitely.
But I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
I am hungry.
All right, we're gonna go eat, and then we're gonna come back and see how far we can get. Got those back where they should be. We still got a few places to work along the body, but for the most part, this is Falconstein. It'll be okay. I showed you the fancy little points there. We got the roof kind of stitched up and back together. We got a little bit more to do over here, and then we've got all of that metal that's been added, which is awesome. So we were supposed to have a primer by tonight, and we didn't quite make it.
Didn't quite. Found a couple of extra spots that we didn't realize, like the left side of the truck needed to be
the whole
worked.
left side, yeah. Well, it's one of those where, yes, we could just continue to thrash and throw it together and make it happen, but we've come this far. Let's take a little extra time, finish this little extra bit.
Yeah. So it's like 1:11 right now.
Yeah.
I came out this morning. I think I was out here at 7:45. We came in at 1:40 last night. So yeah, it's been long days, but just like two, you know.
It's the body work that's it's necessary. 90% of your finished product will be in your body work. So
yeah,
we're doing a lot of digging and excavating, putting metal where there was none, filling holes. It's and a lot of sanding, which you guys know I just love. But honestly, with the right tools, the right paper, the right guidance, it's gone pretty smooth. So well, I feel like we can get out here and knock this out pretty quick and have it in primer in no time.
I feel like, yeah, that's probably
Again, we're not talking about the tailgate.
Yeah.
But everything else will be fine.
Tailgate. Yeah. And you have dry times with everything, so when we apply that primer, it actually has to dry for 3 hours before you can sand it.
That's it?
Yeah. With as warm as it is, it depends on temperature, but you know, we're in the 80s.
It took me 5 days to get my primer.
Yeah. This is different stuff.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
quality.
Kepke, made by the Egyptians.
Yep.
Good enough for the pyramids.
Yeah, it'll be good enough for Falconstein, for sure. Okay, so we're going to wrap up tonight and hit it back early in the morning, and hopefully we can get it one color by tomorrow. Well, good morning. I slept way too long, meaning a whole like 5 hours. Of course, we want to lay some paint down today, so you know it's going to be raining. Looks like it's stuck and ready to stay all day. Looks like he's finishing out that fender weld. I've got a few things I need to hit on this side, and then we're going to be ready for primer. Nothing brings people together quite like a common enemy, and in this case, sanding is the enemy. As much as I don't enjoy sanding, using the right tools, the proper grit, and right techniques has really accelerated the process to the point that we're going to have this knocked out pretty quick. Unfortunately, we're doing so good that we're creating more work for ourselves by finding even smaller imperfections, to which then we have to coat and then sand. And there comes a point when we decide, all right, we're just going to prime and paint this thing. And we're getting close. He just finished up the metal work on the back of the driver's side. I'm finishing up all the filler spots that we've got, little hail dents and rock chips and stuff like that. Still got to knock out the roof, the rest of the hood, and then we're going to finish with that passenger side, getting that mudded and sanded. And we would like to have it in primer today. We wanted to have it in primer yesterday, but things got delayed. But I think we can still get it done. So hang in there, a little bit more sanding and body work to do, and then we got to throw on some primer and then color. Did you ever figure out what color we're doing? Because we haven't yet. So put it in the comments below. What color should we do? Don't jump ahead. Don't be disappointed. Just love the fact that Falconstein's getting some love. Found him. And just like that, all that beautiful metal work is now hidden.
It's kind of like a Motel 6 packing it in there.
well, he's working on the body filler, getting it shoved into all the spaces. I went ahead and pulled this tailgate off. This thing is just hanging by rust. And I don't know if you really caught it before, but this is some kind of aluminum flashing. And they basically cut this flashing in here, wrapped it around the hinges for support, and then the flashing comes all the way up to here where we have a screw head, we have a pop rivet, and then we have more flashing over here. And they threw it in the car and called it good. And for all these years, it's obviously cracked and broken, but it's there. It existed. And I'll be honest, I really like the tailgate. I use this vehicle like a truck, and I would like it to have a tailgate. But we have waited till the end because we knew this was going to be a really, really bad job. So we might need more of that short strand. But what we're going to try to do is I'm going to deconstruct it just a little bit. We have a little bit of wait time, not a lot. And I'm not highly encouraged about what I'm seeing already. Look, it's a maple leaf like Canada.
Oh.
But Falconstein's not Canadian.
Okay.
He's all American.
All American.
International. But
red-blooded American.
yeah, that's where I was headed.
Yeah.
You want your tailgate to come off in chunks like this. That's normal.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get a good stab at it because yesterday you were
pull them wood screws out.
Oh, look at that. That just popped off a big square. There's no aluminum under it.
Oh, and see, it's the aluminum's clear down here.
But this stuff, see how good body filler is, guys? That stuff is flexible.
It did crack in the seam, but the rest is still smooth. Look at him peel it up. This is just body filler.
Goodness, this might be your piece. You know, you may get this in the mail.
Okay. Brian's pretty adamant that if you guys go to buffscrods.com, I might send you a piece of Falconstein. There is a thing when you check out that you can leave me a comment. And if you don't want a piece of Falconstein, just say you don't. But if you do, I'll probably sign a piece and stick it in your merch order. Let's peel it like a banana. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Brian, it's not full of rust. It was on the back side, but not the front. So, I mean, there's a little bit, but there's more, tons more over there.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm not going to try to question why they did what they did just because Falconstein, but this is not that bad. This is all fixable. They could have used the amount of body filler they used to make that patchwork and just fix that. That is not that bad. Anyway, I'm not going to question it anymore. I'm going to go ahead and keep peeling this off, see if there's anything salvageable, which I believe there is, and yeah, go from there. These are the backup light holes. Okay, so we saw the outside was fairly intact. Nice. And I just couldn't understand why they did the flashing. Well, here's why. There's no structure holding this inner to the outer. It's Bluetooth, it's Wi-Fi, it is that of the imagination. And so aluminum flashing to the rescue. But you know what? They made the effort. And they probably paid a lot for that gallon of Bondo that's on the back. I think the goal will be to see what it's going to take to put some structure back into it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be reattached, because it all gets covered up by that inner part anyway of the tailgate. So there's a second half that bolts onto this, and that's what controls your mechanisms, and it latches to the body. That's what controls everything. All we need it to do is hold this inner structure to the outer structure and the hinges. That's it. Let's get in here and use the shear. Yeah, just right where we need it. So this is what I came up with. Sorry, my hair is crazy. Kind of used more piece of that OBS Chevy there and bent it and shaped it, and I don't know if it's going to work, but it's got holes and it kind of matches the shape, so we'll go see if we can stick it on and get half of this tailgate done. Honestly, I probably made way too much effort trying to get this thing all in one piece to fit, but I actually didn't cut any of this. This is just where it rusted off, so I'm going to try to fit that there. Well, it's not great, but it's fairly strong, so hopefully get it fitted on there and make sure it's going to work. Copy it, do one over here where nothing exists, finish out this piece, and then mount the darn thing. Well, we're rolling into day 3, and the body work definitely took a lot longer than I expected. We wanted to get this thing done and out of here in 3 days. I didn't count the first day because, quite honestly, we didn't get a whole lot done, and you know, we had to break down with the starter and all that. And so that's really kind of slowed me down in the beginning. But I'm picking it up. I'm getting used to using things. Getting educated while you're doing it definitely helps, but it does slow down the process. And that's where we got to. We're on what I consider day 3 of this. And we're tackling the tailgate, which has been the most daunting thing in our back of our minds. And as much as I could just leave it off, I didn't want to. I really like the tailgate and I use it. That's why I wanted it to be strong. So my welds aren't beautiful, but they are strong. Much better than what was there before. So this morning I'm going to go ahead and finish filling the gap, as they say. Taking this inner structure, connecting it to the outer structure, making it one solid piece. And remember, there's a whole other section that then falls back on top of this. And that's all your mechanisms and stuff to open and close it. So when you're fabricating, you can pull out all the tape measures and measuring tools that you want, but at the end of the day, I just need this thing to stick together. And this is kind of how I do the stuff that you don't see and the stuff that you do see. So I'm not afraid to show my work, even if my work is complete hackery. This part's going to be hidden under an inner panel. You'll never see it. but I want it to be strong. Again, I'm not afraid to show my work. It was dark, it was raining, but this is how you know it's 1960, because it had the backup lights in the tailgate. Well, somebody had already kind of mudded those over with a big plug of just body filler. So I used Brian's technique of holding a piece of metal behind it, and I actually got both of the screw holes and the light hole completely, mostly, probably filled with metal. So we'll put some short strand fiberglass on that. We've got a few rust holes at the bottom, but not as bad as I thought, that we'll throw some short strand in today. Well, let's get back to the structure. So when you're trying to weld your project, you want to basically stitch the metal back together, regular little tack. On top of that, we're welding with a welder that's made for like frames, bumpers, killdozers, battleships. So it is obviously turned all the way down, but still way too hot. I'm blowing through a lot. So it doesn't look great, but it's strong. And this is all going to be hidden anyway, so strong wins over good looking. It's raining on and off outside, so I kind of have to move the piece in and out as I work, but I've got it stitched together. It's not great, but man, I'm telling you, the outer skin is now attached to the inner skin. I've got places to mount it onto the truck on the hinges. Like, I'm giving it a wiggle, and this thing kind of flexed before and it don't move now. So on the back side, I went ahead and got all this stitched together, so it's fairly solid, but of course there's some rust here. So we're going to do the right thing. No, we're not. We're just going to fill it full of short strand fiberglass and call it good. Hopefully we get this all smoothed out and maybe have this prepped and ready to get primed when the rest of it gets primed. Who knows? But I can't wait any longer. I'm supposed to be going home today. It's probably not going to happen because we're still not in primer on the car. I guess, sorry Brian and Denise, I might be here another day. If you don't remember, I drove this car over here, so I don't have a way to get home. Well, I try to be a good student, so I'm using only one side of the paddle. It actually works so much better when you do it that way. It doesn't get everywhere, and it thoroughly works all of this in. Obviously you want to not have striped colors. You want to have nice, pretty, even color. Here's the thing, I don't want to keep coming back and putting more stuff in, so we're just going to put her on here pretty thick. And yeah, that creates a little bit more time to remove it, but it's not as much time as having to come back, fill it, wait for it to dry. Yeah, we don't need any of that.
Can have aluminum in there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little too.
This was the Ford ahead of its time with the aluminum body skin. Now we're back to, well, mostly fiberglass, but there's some steel in it. And look at my genius, it fits. We had to do a little minor adjusting, but it fits. I'm actually super excited over that right now. Like, okay, I need to take a break. So in our final push for primer, we now got to hit everything on the body with 80 grit on these DAs, just to, as you say, give it something to stick to.
Give it a tooth.
Hopefully we're going to be in primer soon. Okay, so we're both about done sanding, and I'm not saying we're finished, I'm saying we're just done. It's been several days, but the whole idea here for me was to just get a new paint job. Brian, however, expects that I'm going to use it as a truck, and therefore I may have to fix it later. So he has ensured that the base of the vehicle is fixed, and any time along the way that we have to, you know, touch it up or whatever, we don't then have to go rediscovering all the bad bodywork that was there. So if you made it this far in the video, we want to give you a little preview of a possible color choice. Check that out. Yeah, we dug off the blue and found hot green, lime green, what is that? Neon green?
Yeah, looks like something Jimmy Houston would have used on a bass lure.
So we were definitely looking at all the comments and all the different things that you guys thought we should do. It's just interesting that somebody wanted to see it green, and Apparently the grill, not the car, but the grill was green at one point in time. Because it's conduit, EMT conduit. There's a green layer, then there's a black layer, and then there's the final blue layer where they just literally painted everything blue. Oh yeah, check out my new tailgate. Look how pretty that is.
Re-engineered better than it has to be.
Yes. Did you accidentally mud the body line? Brian says you can take this hacksaw blade, it's a nice straight long blade. We'll find our body line where we know it's at. We just kind of run it along into our mud, work it back and forth until our line redevelops.
Yeah, you ought to step out in and check out the dark blue clouds back there.
Yeah, so it's always good to make sure it actively rains while you're trying to spray. Not really. So I gotta hurry up, get this thing blown off. We need to get it taped off, wiped down, back inside, all before the rain, because this is happening. We're gonna make it happen right now. And right on it. That wasn't bad. Well, it's time, guys. We're masking.
To do this, I'm going to open the door to let the fumes out because everybody needs practice pulling the trigger on a spray gun, and this is good practice.
So same technique.
Super light, just play around with it for a second, figure out what you need.
Oh yeah, I get this. Okay, and I get it. We're going to take this block and we're just going to sand it. We don't have to get crazy aggressive with it. We're going to use this block to kind of make sure we are staying flat on the project. We're going to sand off that guide coat, and anything left is a low spot that we might need to address. Okay, so for perspective, looking at what this thing was to begin with, and now we've got a few layers of filler, we've got new metal in the back. This thing feels super smooth. You can see that there's some low spots, but let's remind ourselves what it's for, and it is a truck, and we're going to use the tailgate like a truck. We're going to flip her down and have some drinks on it. We're going to throw rocks and stuff at it, but it's really pretty smooth considering what we started with.
I don't know if this is an educational collab or what, but I just wanted to show Buff kind of what it'll look like. So your wax and grease remover will highlight everything and it gives you a shine on the surface. And then you can get back and you can look at it and you can see the straightness and that type of stuff. I mean, you can see there's still guide coat on here.
Oh yeah, they can get the reflection. There we go.
We're not living in the perfect world, guys.
If you're going to do your SEMA build, if you're going to make it super nice, this is the time to find the issues and fix them. It gives it a shine so you can see the waves, you can see the dips, you can see all of it. We're just going to clean it off. So yes, sanding is tedious, but it reveals a lot. The guide coat gives you a lot of idea of really where you've got to spend a little bit more time. And this is honestly where time and effort matters. If you really, really love your car and you want it to have a knockout killer finish, nice and smooth, glossy, and it's going to last forever, this process should take you at least a week. I'm trying to say, just from the physical labor that I've already put in, and then talking to Brian, this process takes a while. He said normally he'd spend a week or more on just the body work, and that's getting the metal straight, getting the filler in there, getting the multiple layers of primer on and sanded. That part alone would take a week, and then he's going to do multiple days for multiple layers of paint, clear coats, all of that. You're talking about a couple week paint job to get a really, really nice looking vehicle. Guide coat, block sand. We're going to finish it off with a high grit DA, I think 500 DA. That should get this thing so smooth, smoother than it's probably ever been, even from the factory. This car is going to look killer.
All right.
And this is the neighbor Duke. He showed up to help, you know, tell us what we did wrong and show us how to fix it right.
You didn't do it wrong.
Good guy. He actually came in to help save us. We've got some ideas on the paint, and we just need a little bit extra help, and he showed up right at the right time. Obviously, helped push the truck in.
Yeah, for sure.
So everybody tell Duke hi in the comments. He said, "Don't burn through the primer." Yeah, too late. I'm fired. But we're doing a little something special over here that's going to translate into something really cool over there. So I got to thank Duke for bringing the Cricket to help us do this. We're going to do seam sealer and red paint. That's right, red at the same time. But not what you think.
All the high dollar stuff. I got some Cumberland Products Incorporated.
It almost looks like John Deere. Is that tractor?
Yeah, that's what we're all tractor.
So I said we're doing some red, and I said it's not what you think. That's all we need right there, that little bit.
That is a lot of red.
That's a lot
of color
for what we need.
I mean, some people would call it orange. You know,
well,
freaks out there.
Depends on, are you a Kubota orange General Lee guy, or are you the red General Lee guy?
Oh,
They claim it's red, not orange.
No, that car's orange. You know, if you wanted to create your own version, you just go get you some Ford OEM code PQ.
Hey, good. It's Ford going on a, well, kind of Ford.
It's all Ford here today, folks.
It is not, but it's
all
close.
Ford all day.
Yep.
Beautiful. Is this a two-coater or one-coater? So we've got red shot. We are not filling this in with red, but we're going to run this right down, and we're going to tape off where the red's at. Mask off is what we're doing, and then we're going to shoot the next color, and the red will be under it. That's right, it'll be under it. Yeah. It's amazing. It looks beautiful. It absolutely is smooth, and it's going to be glossy. I keep looking at this tailgate that we finished, and I'm just overwhelmed. You guys saw what it looked like before. It was a rusty, falling apart mess, a literal shell of a tailgate. And here it is, back together. Beautiful gloss white. It's going to look amazing on the truck, and best of all, I built it. I take credit for putting the structure back in it and making it strong. And then Brian and I got it sanded smooth. I mean, it's gorgeous. But look at the rest of the body here. And just remember what this was before, and it's totally different now. It just looks amazing.
You just have to start at the back and real careful catch the edge of the tape, and then it'll start to roll off there. There you go. Just pick and dig on tape, not on paint. That's all you got to do. You've been there before.
Yeah, not quite this minute. I got millimeters. Oh,
there you go.
That's so satisfying. So good. Oh, wow. That looks so 60s, so classic. It looks like a hot rod. Oh.
Alright, guys. So,
that's so awesome.
I wonder what we could do to accentuate that just a little bit more.
For the next step, we're going to have to employ a little bit of extra shielding because we got this beautiful white, and the last thing we want to do is get anything on it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this baby up in plastic, mask off, and go on to the next layer. Well, Brian is taping off a little more because we're just not done yet. And while he's doing that, I've got some vinyl stars that I'm now adding to this taped up section. And I mean, you can try to guess what color that's going to be. It's not, stars aren't going to stay black. Those are just vinyl stick-on. That'll be our mask. So yeah, that's going well. To be honest, I didn't expect there to be so much math. Alright, more math occurred. We got more stars. I kind of ran out, and then I had to hand cut these last few. But they turned out pretty good. They're fairly symmetrical. If anyone shows up with a measuring stick and starts measuring my stars, we can talk about that later. But Brian just didn't want to wait. So he went ahead and shot the blue, and it looks amazing. It's got metallic in it. It's going to be nice and bright and shiny. It's awesome. So I can't wait till this one's done. We can start unmasking. We even did a little extra blue hood treatment. And yes, we threw some stars in that too. So whenever I first talked to Brian about doing this, I said I just want a plain Jane, white, clean Falconstein. I look at it as ordering the vanilla cone. But then Brian, he shows up with an idea and says, how about that vanilla cone with a sprinkle of freedom? And that's what we got. Show the people what they want to see. Oh yeah, no No bleed?
No bleed. No whammies. Big money.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
That's some freedom, people. Oh, so good. Look at how amazing that turned out. And I'm not just saying on camera it looks good. It looks good. And the blue has metallic in it. And we still have clear coat to do, so it's going to be shiny. It far exceeds what I ever expected. And to add to that, you guys did put in your votes. I heard of doing a bed liner, OD green. Some of you wanted to leave it blue. Some said white. Some said neon green. But here we are. No one can deny that the Stars and Stripes truly set off Falconstein better than any of those. And it's all your idea.
It's all my idea. Yeah, the insanity of it all.
Insanity or genius? You can do the Dalton thing. I am a genius!
Yes, there you go. Definitely makes you feel like you are a genius.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You gotta own that.
Or a little bit insane.
A little of both. Well, I took a little bit of a nap after all that, but I've got to get this thing back together enough just to get it home, and then we're going to finish the build out so we can finish this video. I want to thank Brian and Denise for inviting me out to Hog Shooter Hot Rods, for putting me up for the very long weekend, and honestly just for being great people. Their hospitality is truly amazing, and I mean the end result is here for you all to look at. Both of them jumped in and helped out with this project, and Brian took the time to show me how to do these techniques so that I can better paint stuff when I get home back to Buff's garage. Which reminds me, I need to go home. Well, unless anything happens, I'll see you back at the shop.
Marching line